All right, so we get to the point where he rips the horns off.
Talk to me, man. I want to know what you think, bro.
How do I say this? Typically, I feel like Oda earns these moments more in the writing.
The first time we saw Mans, Rocks told him, yo, you better leave before they make you a slave. Now he voluntarily becoming one. I'm appalled, bro. I hate Harald.
I'm a bit torn because obviously we know Harold's made the wrong decision here. And he's so impacted by the weight and the guilt from allowing his best friend to pass when he outright asked him for assistance. My best friend pulled up on me while I'm carrying out the missions of the world government to stop him. And he says, yo, help me out. Because I basically foretold him, I don't think I'm going to make it. I don't think fate is on my side today. Help me out. And he said, nah, can't help you. He might allow you to go free. I won't attack y'all, whatever. Y'all can get to the island, whatever. He didn't actively help or assist Rocks in the way that Rocks was asking him to. And then he passes. He doesn't make it. Gets taken out. And because he's blaming himself so much for that, he feels it so heavily that he's internalizing and then bursting it out in action by taking it out on this guy who was a giant for doing whatever he might have been doing on this island.
He was pillaging.
Yeah, pillaging. And so all of the weight of his reason for not helping Rocks was because giants can't be looked at in such a way because they have a history of the pillaging and the reaving and the destroying of islands and not playing nice with humans in the sandbox, etc. And now the history is repeating itself with this random giant on this island. And it's reminding him of the guilt that he's feeling because he didn't help Rocks. So he takes it out on this person, beating him down. He's even thinking about Rocks in the moment. And you see the pain, like when he's swinging, that panel on the bottom there. Mm-hmm. You see the force behind it. Harold hit hard.
Yeah,
you know
he is too damn hard.
He is too hard to be hitting fodder like this. You know what I'm saying? So for him to be screaming out in pain, basically saying like, yo, I couldn't help my friend because people like you have been destroying humankind and terrorizing the world for centuries. I, as the King of Elbaf, have to bear the weight of that, and I couldn't save my friend as a result of it. So I felt bad for Harold in that moment. But at the same time, we've argued all the time about why we like certain characters in the way they handle these situations. Why we love Luffy. It wouldn't matter what the history of the world tells you. It wouldn't matter what the history of the world says you're supposed to do in a moment. My friends said they needed me. I'm coming to their aid, period. That's the kind of character that I love. That's the kind of character Luffy is. So Harold, I understand the frustration and I understand the politics behind not being able to act the way you want to act because you represent more than just your crew, your friends. But in a story that emulates and glorifies Luffy's actions, it's like jarring to see this because this is the real reaction. This is real. This is real life. People have to make decisions like this all the time. And it's just painful to see Harold have to go through that because you know deep down he's a good guy. Deep down, Harold's a good person. And then they spin it. King Harald becomes deranged, etc. When he's actively screaming out what he's feeling to the world. You know what I mean? I think that's funny. All right, so we get to the point where he rips the horns off.
Talk to me, man. I want to know what you think, bro.
How do I say this? Typically, I feel like Oda earns these moments more in the writing. I didn't feel that way when I read this, personally. I understand Harold's frustration. I just highlighted it. I just went through my whole soliloquy about it. Typically, I would have felt more for this. I should have seen a little bit more struggle for Harold with the Rocks piece, outside of him just beating down on some random thug. I should have seen him, maybe him reading the paper or him getting the news. Something felt lacking for me here. And the wholesale decision to say you'll be a slave to the world government to atone for the years of history. His whole issue with what he's doing or did or didn't do ended up getting Rocks taken out, right? What you're now doing by saying no half measures is completely spitting in the face of the memory of your friend who has told you over and over and over again what the world government is like and how they will not actually treat y'all equally. And it's like you have this moment because Rocks passed, but he's so blinded by his responsibility as the King of Elbaf that he's completely spitting in the face of everything Rocks ever stood for in this moment. So it hurt me to read it. I understood Harold's decision with the no half measures, but in the same chapter that Rocks passes, Harold makes this decision, and I was like, bro, come on.
What was the first thing that Rocks told Harold when they first linked up at Mari Joa?
He's going to make you a slave. He said that.
There it is.
He said, don't stay here, don't get caught because you become a slave.
Ooh, I want to punch him in his face so bad.
Yeah, so again, I understand the decision. I wouldn't have made this decision. I love seeing Emu pop up on that little panel at the end there, because he's already highlighted how much value Harald was to him. He even teased Rocks with it before he Dami reversed Rocks. So for him to get this moment when he didn't even earn it, Emu did nothing to earn this. Emu did absolutely nothing to earn this, but he gets it. He gets the giant he's always wanted at his doorstep, ripping off the symbol of their power and basically bequeathing himself to him, saying, hey, I'm willing to be a slave for you to make this happen. And it's tragic, man. It's tragedy. Harald, bro. I know the Harald stocks are down. I'm hoping that they can recover, but it's gonna be tough, bro. I ain't gonna lie, it's gonna be tough. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how the rest of Elbaf files suit in this. Like, will the elders say something about it? Harald clearly won't care. Like, he's convicted in this. Like, that's the point. It's supposed to be the focal point of his conviction. But I don't know. I felt it wasn't as earned as it should have been. And it was just very clearly the wrong decision. And it actually disrespected the memory of your friend.
I was shocked, too. I was just like, what? But actually, I started thinking more in my head, and to me, it's like weirdly parallels to certain things. I think, honestly, what he's doing, and Master already kind of said it, part of me also thinks he's punishing himself. He's putting himself in a slave position because of his guilt of not going to help out Rocks. Like, that's how much he hurt. Like, again, the build should have been better. So it's like a two-forward accomplishment he's trying to do. He's trying to win the world government on his side, finally change and have the peace for his people, but, and doing drastic measures, but also punching himself in a way that, and to me, just like, he said, like, the first thing he heard Rocks say was, you become a slave. And he probably remembers that. And I'm not saying Harold felt this or thought this. We can go into the spin in his face, because even though this happened, Rocks would not want this for you. But the fact he let his friend pass away, he probably thinks, I deserve to be a slave for letting my friend pass. And I also thought of like the willing to go through that much for somebody. To a degree, because I thought of Kuma and Odin. I love Kuma, as in Kuma was really out of love for Bonnie, was willing to put himself in a mindless slave position so she could hear from her sickness out of love. Odin was willing to dance and become a fool and get boiled to alive for his people and for his scabbards. It's like the opposite with Harold. He's doing this all out of remorse, out of grief, out of pain, because he didn't go to help Rocks, and he's so tied with the world government, and he's trying to make this happen, that he's willing to sacrifice his body. I took it as, if enemy's going to be a slave, not my people, not my men, not my countrymen, I'll take it all myself. The same thing what Odin did. Odin didn't ask for his people to help. Odin took all that burden and put him on himself. I'm strong enough to handle it. To me, that's what I got from Harold, that he's taking the grief and pain that he has from Rocks, and also the weight behind trying to get peace for his people, and he's putting it all in one action. Being a slave, even ripping out his horns.
Let me add to it. He also said now he can't go back. What always held him back from doing this mindless activity was because Rocks was alive. Because deep down inside, he wanted to join him. And now that path was taken away.
Going into what Sebastian said about Harold, I agree with everything you said, but I do want to add what I felt from Harold when he was pummeling that situation. It's funny because the answer is what he avoided, God Valley. Because if he was just there, all what you've been trying to do, and you see what the top is like, the Gorosei, Emu, all of them, what they do, you would see that there's no peace here. You're fighting for peace, but their definition of peace is different. Because their definition of peace is servitude for everyone else that's not them. So now you're beating up this giant here because he's destroying this peace of this kingdom or nation attacking, right? So you're beating it up to protect humans. But if you saw that this could happen to anyone aligned with or non-aligned with the world government because they choose to, how would you react? It better be the same. You view them as the good guys. Because, yeah, you don't know the story behind it. You're reading the newspaper, you just know your best friend passed and all the situation here. The God Valley were revealed to the Garp and many others was the trueness of the world government. All you saw was evil there. Because you know of slaves, but you're thinking, all right, that's the hierarchy thing. But the fact that they're willing to hunt them down like that, it shows nothing but cruelty. If you saw that there, even if you didn't even listen to Rocks, then your mind would have changed. It's like, you would recognize why Rocks have been trying to tell you this entire time. You will not find peace with this people. Because they don't care about peace. Their peace is servitude for everyone else. If you're not in line, we do whatever you want with you. And if you are in line, we do whatever you want with you. It doesn't matter to them. So the answer was God Valley. If Harold just knew what they all witnessed at God Valley, we would see the end result where because now we see the dramatic pose where he goes into ripping out your horns to offer yourself as a slave. You don't necessarily know what that means. You're thinking, all right, yeah, I'm strong. Like Lionel was saying about carrying the burden for everyone else. Thinking you're strong, like even Kuma, right? I can carry this, I can do this, like that. That's not what slave means to them. Slave ultimately means Dami Reversi. that now, and also since you're strong, they're going to use your power to wherever they see fit, not whatever you think a normal slave would do. To them, you'll be too valuable because he's not going to allow you to be the celestial dragon slave. You're going to be at a higher ranking slave to evil, which is Dami Reversi.
Even beyond that, we talk about him trying to shield the people of Elbaf.
Yeah.
You're basically enslaving the entire country of Elbaf. It's not just you. Everybody's going to have to acquiesce to whatever the world government wants.
Yeah. And I know this is a deep response. He's deep in his emotion because what he lost, like you broke, I like how you explained it, the trigger for it all. Because remember, he would always question, like, why are they fighting me so hard on this? They can see my genuinity in this. And how he would have kind of refused to fight or do in anything at all. The same way why he didn't even want to go to God Valley, whatever. He was kind of showing that I'm willing to not fight or do anything evil at all, to show how much I'm willing to go for peace for years. Non-violence, all of that. I'm going to talk it all out. I'm going to save, I'm going to do good. I'm going to give all this stuff. Showing that we can live a life of non-violence, right? And that's what he couldn't stand. I'm showing you this for years in on out, that I'm not even willing to fight. I'm willing to give, share my resources, all of that. Why are you still fighting me on this? It wasn't clicking what Rox is saying, because they don't care about that. That's not what peace is to them. It's all of what they could use out of you, from you, get to that you do their bidding, which Rox knew because he knew that. It makes you question, like, how much Rox knew, I guess, depending on the history of things. Was Harald willing to listen? Did you not say it all? Like, what was your conversations that you tried convincing Harald that he wasn't getting the picture?
Harald saw it himself, too, with the Marines that they were attacking regular people. He saw it live. He's seen it. Like, he can't even feign ignorance.
Because to me, in this aspect, in a more severe and one-sided extreme way, he kind of did what Garp did. For example, like, we know Garp would not be willing to be a slave to the world government. He's willing to change the system from the inside. But Harald, from what we've seen right now, you're not even trying to do that. You're seeking peace, but you're not trying to change it from the inside or protect that from the inside like Garp is trying to do. Yeah, you didn't see God Valley, but you're seeing the evils of how their rule is. Yet you want to be at peace with them? Or Rox is like, no, this whole regime needs to be changed because what they want is not what we want because we're seeing it. You want to make these changes, that's why they're fighting you on it, because they don't care about the change you want to do. Because if they really wanted peace, really wanted the with all the nations, you'd be united and do all stuff like that, they should be backing you. They should be supporting you because you're trying to do that. And it goes into, like, I'm not going to blame Ida for changing his mindset because she had nothing to do with the world government. She just thinks this is how people should be. Rox is believing this is what the world government should be doing too, but you're trying to make them do it, but, like, you got to realize only change can come from people when active that force when they actually care. They don't care. That's not what they want. You know, it's all about controlling power, whatever. So it's just funny.
You guys brought up so many good points. So many good points. I used to think Kid and Don Chinjiao were the weakest conquerors hockey users in One Piece history. But King Harald of Elbaf is easily the weakest conqueror of all time, and it's not even close. This man fell in love with a woman who completely changed his worldview, only to abandon her and their child because of outdated Elbaf traditions. Then he throws away a genuine friendship so he could play puppet for a group of people who don't even like him and who have enslaved his entire race. And after all that, he has the nerve to blame his own people for his failures as a leader. He wasn't there for Rox when Rox needed him most. Then he goes to an island and beats the absolute life out of one of his own people. Someone literally begging him to stop while he plays the victim over his own cowardice. He tells the Beaten Giant that their kind is scum for their violent history while committing violence. The hypocrisy. He wonders why the world doesn't believe giants can be peaceful, while proving they can't by refusing to be peaceful himself. He left Rox to pass at God Valley. Then he doubles down by going to Marine Ford, ripping off his own horns and declaring that he wants to become a slave instead of fighting back or attempting the far more reasonable route of forming alliances to oppose the world government. This man allowed himself to be molded into a political tool, was pressured to murk his best friend, actually attempted it, let's not forget that, and still thinks the world government will treat him fairly. The first time we saw Mans, Rox told him, yo, you better leave before they make you a slave. Now he voluntarily becoming one. I'm appalled, bruh. I hate Harald, bro. And let's not forget, he ended up with a poisonous woman who threw their baby off a mountain. Granted, he didn't know about it, but he abandoned his son. Then put the weight of the world on the shoulders of his toddlers because he knew he wasn't good enough to handle any of it. He was such a coward that he put it on his own boys in order to fix the mistakes he couldn't. That's not even a good father. You're a coward. How dare you put that weight on your son's shoulders? You made a mess, and now it's up to them to clean it up after you sacrifice your life and enslave your entire people. He refuses to acknowledge that Elbaf and the world government have been enemies for 1,000 years over a conflict he never bothered to understand, bro. All he cares about is becoming acceptable in their eyes, even if it means destroying his own people. It's pathetic. It's beyond pathetic. It's pitiful, bro. Whatever other word is worse than that, that's what it is. What sins have the Giants actually committed? Have they ever done anything close to what the world government has done? Have they ever massacred an entire generation of babies? No, we don't know. If we did speculate they'd done something that terrible, we have to guess. But guess what? If Elbaf was really that dangerous, we would have heard about it. Everyone has flaws, bro. But abandoning your people, your family, your friend, and your own moral compass is the most pathetic thing I've seen in One Piece. He failed as a father, he failed as a king, he failed as a friend, he failed as a lover. I thought Odin dancing in the streets was rock bottom, but this is the most cowardly display I've seen in almost any media. Accepting slavery. I once thought Harald breaking his horns would be an act of extreme symbolism. Proof to the world government that giants were no longer a threat. But tearing them off while declaring he'd willingly become a slave, that's just it for me. Because I predicted this would happen once we saw his horns were torn off. I said Ida would give him the clarity and courage to say, hey, government, we're no longer these people. He's doing that and then succumbing to slavery. Not in my wildest prediction. I would have guessed he would have did it and said, yo, I'm going to be a slave too, though.
It makes it bad because we just got what I thought like one of the prime examples of conquerors. Yamato telling Momo that when Kaido was trying to make the whole country slaves, Yamato's saying, no, we're showing that conqueror's attitude. Either you fight for your freedom or you pass trying.
Exactly. Maybe it's just a conqueror's thing where it's like even this is such an extreme way of doing something.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that when conquerors believe in another conqueror, they throw their dream to the side for the one that they respect and admire. And we've seen that plenty of times. Ace did that with Whitebeard, and, Zoro did it for Luffy. And there's other times where, like, people just give up their dreams for the other, but that's when they're conquerors, and they do it to such an extreme degree. And I can say it, like, because he lost rocks, he's taking it, like y'all said, he's taking it out on himself. But he's doing this out of the sense of, like, being a conqueror. So he goes there and he rips off his own horns regardless of what happens to him. And that's a conqueror-like ability to just say, yo, whatever happens to me right now, I accept it.
You're 100% right. Going this far into this extreme is what a conqueror would do. It's just no other conqueror would go about it in this way. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
because even Kid would be like, F you, regardless. Look at what happened to Killer. He said, yo, regardless of how I'm going to get beat, I'm going to get the get back for Killer. But now it leaves me to believe if you're a conqueror and you love somebody so dearly, do you just throw yourself to the wayside and destroy yourself? No matter what. Is this like the negative effect of being a conqueror? And sometimes I feel that way because sometimes I crash out too when it comes to like, and I'm not saying I'm a conqueror, but like, I know I crash out for people I care about, regardless of what happens to me.
My thing is, and I know Lionel brought up and Lawrence brought up the fact he's trying to put it on himself, right? But he's not seeing the forest for the trees, right? What could they ask him to do now that he would be willing to acquiesce to uphold what he's trying to do? He said no more half measures. What if they say, we want you to? Is he just like, yeah?
We want your child.
We want Loki. We want Haruto. We want this, that.
We want the children you're saying you want peace for to join the military for at least 2 years.
And is he just saying yes now to these things? Like he said slave. You have no rights as a slave. Yeah. You have no right to say anything as a slave. And if you're bending the knee to this degree, to that extreme, they can ask anything of you. And he's so blinded by his guilt, so blinded by the responsibility that he's not seeing any of that. And I know he's basically doing his own crash out because of his friend's passing, but like, bro, are you serious? Like, I couldn't believe it, bro.
Bro, listen, bro. Whatever Harold suffers next, he deserves it.
And
Hey.
honestly,
No, I'm serious, bro.
Hey.
but it also kind of remind me a little bit, and this is what Harold doesn't have, and this I'm not saying why would be it, but you made me just think. For instance, Luffy, we saw what Luffy's willing to do so much for Ace when he's trying to save him, right? Like he went to Emerald Down, lost many years of his life, going to Marineford War, fighting in a condition where he should have been sleeping and whatever, right? But look what happens when he loses Ace. He starts destroying his body again more. Like even like you just came from a battle healing. You need to be healed. Like you just came from sacrificing so much of your body already, trying to save one thing and you failed. Now you're doing similar things, like damage your body even further. But who did Luffy get to have on his side to talk him out of doing it? Instead of what you still have. He had Jinbei to talk to him, and like you pretty much remember what you have with your Nakama or whatever. I'm not saying that Harold needs that, but like I thought that's something similar. Like you're a conqueror, you're so focused on your goal, just how Luffy was. with saving Ace. Then it just ends up blowing up in your face. Same thing, similar to what Ace and what Harold had. Harold got so focused on doing something that you also probably deep down wanted to do to help Rocks, and you didn't do it. Now you're doing the same thing. You're destroying yourself, taking it on your body and on your goal in one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like you're still trying to achieve the other goal, which you failed at, helping Rocks, but you're also attacking your body again. So I'm like, I don't know who would be like if somebody could talk Harold out of it. Who do you think it would be? Like if comparing this to like
It would have been Rocks, bro.
No, I don't know, because for instance, because Jinbei didn't really know Luffy like that. He just but he was able to talk to him and make him realize that you still have your Nakama, you still have whatever.
Maybe Roger or something, like some other great pirate, but I don't think anybody can talk him out of this at this point, bro.
Maybe Garp.
Listen, man, this was foolish. It was disgraceful, and Rocks is rolling in his grave. Because if Harold ignored him from the very moment he shaved his head, told him, "You look stupid." Garp said, "You look stupid."
I'm wondering why Loki still looks at him as in any positive light.
He doesn't. He didn't get along with him.
He still does. When he was talking to Harold to Haruden, he was like, "You think I would have did that to Pop?" Like that's how he said it. You
Listen,
know what I mean?
He was nice to Loki when he became a slave, yo. He said, "Yo, I don't gotta go out there and now do the things I was doing. I'm home. I didn't abuse you." You know what I'm saying? Loki received one nice word from Harold and thought the world of him. He just hated that he was just never around. He was getting beat his whole life. Hated by the people that were in, you know what I'm saying?